What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be an informal video for you guys. Drop some information on you. Hopefully it's educational, and I hope you guys enjoy this next video coming right up. All right, guys, today's video is going to be explaining my problems, the diagnostics I did to figure out my problem, and the solution to the problem. So, get right into the video. This is a 3.1 liter V6 GM motor. They are in tons and tons of sedans from 1994 to all the way up to 2005. This motor has been around for quite some time. This is actually the last year of this motor in this car. This is a 2005 Buick Century. You guys seen this car on this channel before. But I've been running into problems with this vehicle as of lately. It's hard to start, especially after a cold night, or any night for that matter. It could be a warm night. So after it sits cold for a long time, it's really hard to start. It labors to start. It lobes like it's starving for fuel. It has a rough idle at sometimes, and it almost feels like it's going to stall out. So I did some research, and I had some process of eliminations. I'm going to go down that path with you guys right now and explain to you what I found out on my particular car. Okay, so there's two major things that could have this happen to your vehicle. One is the mass airflow sensor right here. You can see the plug going into that. That could be dirty. That could be sending your computer, your ECM, wrong information to the computer to tell you for fuel and air ratio and all that stuff. So that's an easy fix. You can get some some mass airflow sensor cleaner. Two different types of cleaners, so pay attention to that. And then also, and there's another problem that I discovered doing some research on the interwebs is this right here. And as you can see, it is new. I didn't film it. It was late at night. It's pretty easy. I'm going to go step by step of what I did to get this on and off. This is a fuel pressure regulator for the whole fuel rail system. You can see the aluminum rail goes on this side and it goes on the back side of the other inside of the intake. And this regulates your fuel pressure. This was my culprit. There's a couple telltale signs you can do to see if this fails. One, you can take out this vacuum line. If there's any fuel in the vacuum line, you know the diaphragm in this valve is compromised, which is no good. I didn't have that problem. I never had fuel in this vacuum line while the vehicle was running, but I still had all the other symptoms that everyone else was talking about, that this was my culprit. Turns out, absolutely what it was. Easy fix. Okay, I'll break down exactly how to do this. There's two 10mm bolts here, and you can leave this all together as one unit. I didn't disconnect any of these plastics. I was afraid to snap them. So all I did is remove these two 10mm bolts. This is a 13mm bolt right in there. There's one there and one right down in there. So this will all come off together as a unit. But first thing is you got to take this band clamp off and this band clamp off and get this snorkel out of the way. There's other videos out there that say you need to take off all this stuff. You really don't. But in order to get that nut, if you guys see down inside there, it's a 15/16 standard. I didn't have a metric wrench to fit it, and it did fit it nice and snug. But you can see if I pull the throttle body down, you can see that nut right there, right above my index finger. That is the culprit that you need to get off. It's a pain in the butt. So what I did was take this off, take my intake off, put it over here on the side. It actually ended up right about here. Then you take that torque bolt out, which all this is a little clip to hold it on the fuel rail. And then what I did is right here, there's two fuel rails. There's a return and feed. And that, I believe, right down there, let me get my big hand out of the way, is your feed line, and this is your return line back to the gas tank. This is what I disconnected, this plastic disconnects, and I'll show you the tools that you're gonna need to do that in a minute. And then, right down below here, there is a coolant line. You can hardly see it though. It's right down. Let me zoom up a little bit. That's hard to see, but it's right underneath this fuel line. There's a turn and feed. Actually, you can see a new clamp I put on there because I ended up replacing the hose because I nicked it. So there's just two coolant lines that go to the bottom side of this intake, and that's all you have to do to get this off. And what I did is I disconnected the fuel line. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I did it, and I took the whole fuel line, which is a short line that goes here to here, and I took this off, disconnected it, put it all back together, solved my problem. So if you guys are having issues with this particular motor, it could be in Pontiacs, it can be in Buicks, it can be in Oldsmobiles. This motor is heavily used in GM in the early 90s all the way to the early 2000s. And you're having problems with hard starting, even after like a half-hour drive and you shut it off, go get a cup of coffee and come back in, I'm telling you, I was running into a lot of difficult problems with this, and it was getting worse and progressively worse. Hard starts, rough idles, almost wants to die at like a red light, like it wants to stall out. Bad fuel economy is another one too. My fuel economy was going into trash, and these little V6s don't use too much fuel, so you'll notice a big increase in fuel consumption. And then also, I didn't have any codes pop up on this, so that's going to be the tricky thing with this whole diagnostics of trying to figure out why you're having these problems. But this doesn't throw a code, okay? So I just want to keep you guys heads up on that. There's going to be no check engine light code. There's going to be no codes to clear or find. But I will show you the disconnect tool that you can purchase any automotive parts store to take these off, and they come in real handy. So hold on, let me show you. All right, in the toolbox we go. So this right here is a fuel disconnect tool kit. Multiple sizes, different types of hoses, and actually it was a 3/8 that took that off right here. So you slide that over the line, that's why it's separated right there, and these are pretty bendable. You know, eventually if they get old, they get a little harder, but you can they're really cheap to pick up and they come in real handy. That's your fuel disconnect lines. You just slide that in the end of it, and then you pull on the fuel line, it pops right up. Basically there's a collar inside that line because it's a ferro fitting. That's a set. It'll come in handy, even if it costs you $5, $6, $7. Buy it if you're going to be doing any type of fuel lines, or I think power steering lines as well. They have compression fittings like that, but mostly fuel lines. All right, guys. So it's basic hand tools for this one. Let me pan out a little bit. Jesus, it like a 10mm. All 1/4-inch drive will get all this stuff done. Very simple. Screwdriver, a 3/8 bit driver for the worm drive on the band clamps for the snorkel. It's very, very simple, easy fix. That part right there, the fuel pressure regulator, it costs about $40 to $58 depending on where you are in the country and what type of brand you got. So I hope this helps somebody, and honestly with what I've been having, this is pretty close to any problems that I already explained. This is probably going to be your culprit. So if this helped anybody, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like these types of automobile videos, and leave a comment down below, and make sure you hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any videos we post up here. And also, I got an Instagram page. Hit that up too. A little sneak peek before I post on YouTube, and we'll see you guys on the next one.